Hey everybody, Josh here. Today we're talking electric mini pumps. Josh, you say, you've already done 2 videos about how awesome your electric mini pumps are. Most exciting announcement of 2025. We're announcing 2 amazing electric mini pumps. But before... Hey everybody, Josh from SILCA here with an FAQ about our newest product, the Elettrico mini inflators. I've got... Yes, that is true. But today we have third-party data. So always when we do these things, there's someone, always in the comments to say, oh, but it's just this, or it's that, or I know better. Awesome, fine. I love your comments. We read all of them. We try to respond to as many as we can. And we know, because we've done the work up front, that what we really need is independent third-party testing of these things, because of course I'm going to say how awesome I am and my products are, but you really need someone else to come in and validate it. And wow, we have 2, and I've had shortened version. Sorry, I don't normally do paper. I'm just kind of a big stand here and blab at you guys in these videos, but there's quotes, there's data, there's the whole thing, and so let's dig in. We will link these below if you want to read them. But let's start with Gran Fondo Magazine did a big test, and here's one of their data sheets. Actually, a huge shout out to the test was actually in some way facilitated and sponsored by Topeak, who lent Gran Fondo like a master gauge for pressure testing and some other things. And so I thank Topeak for helping enable the test on that front. So there you go. And honestly, I thank them even more, knowing that their product it just did okay, and so I think it's, as a company, it takes a lot of balls, quite frankly, to do that, show up, maybe knowing you're not going to win. I think Topeak's a company that I really respect and admire. They make, for their price point, they are quite often to generally the best thing in class at that price. They really have a sweet spot there, and I have a ton of respect for them. But let's talk about us. As my friend Bill Vance used to say, enough about me, let's talk about me. What did they find? Essentially, SILCA Elettrico Ultimate was the fastest pump on test. Let's throw it up. This was pretty cool. When we launched, we came out saying, ours are made by Psych Plus, but there are internals of our design. And a lot of people weren't quite sure what that meant or anything, but here, you have the AS2 Pro Max, which is sort of the base architecture on which our pump was developed. And you see that they inflate the 25 millimeter tire in 35 seconds. And of course, the SILCA Ultimate does it in 22 seconds. So the SILCA Ultimate was the fastest pump on test by a pretty good margin. Some of these, where is it? The Topeak in this case, 50 seconds, so more than twice as long to get there. Another quote, accuracy is excellent. Both SILCAs were within plus or minus 0.1 bar of the reference gauge. The micro was 0.05 off at 3 bar, 0.0 off at 5 bar. Ultimate was the same, 0.05 off at 3 bar and 0 off at 5 bar. So at 5 bar, perfectly accurate. They tested the battery life, and I really like this one because I think, too, it shows how we can be misled sometimes by specs. So the SILCA Ultimate has a 600 milliamp hour battery, and it did 11 25 millimeter tires and 7 28 millimeter tires in that test. But for reference, the Topeak e-Booster Digital has a 600 milliamp hour battery and only did 5 25s and 2 28s. And in fact, the SILCA Elettrico Micro actually did the same number of inflations as the Topeak on a 300 milliamp hour battery. So quite literally a battery of half the technical capacity, but yet equivalent in field performance. And so I think sometimes that's where you just have to be careful. There's more to life and things than just the pure spec. It's how you're using it. We learned so much in the development process and in working with our friends at SiCplus on this about motor windings and wire diameters and the count of windings and the batteries, the type of, the N42 versus 48 versus 52% neodymium. I mean, all these little things that kind of under the hood that you don't see but can really dramatically affect the ultimate performance at the end of the day. And so, so fastest, I think we tied for accuracy, battery life, tied for best battery life, weight and build. Micro was the lightest in the test, which is great. We were kind of middle of the road on weight for the ultimate, but again, it clearly performed. The only thing they didn't love was lack of a gauge on the micro, and quite frankly, as we talked in the beginning, it's meant to replace CO2 cartridges. It is the only inflator in the market small enough to fit in the internal storage of like a Trek or an NV frame. It's really, really tiny, so something had to give. In this case, it was the gauge. But again, if you've been using CO2 or a hand pump for your whole life like me, you're pumping to finger test anyway. So I hear what you're saying. The technology just isn't quite there yet to pack all of this and a gauge into something this small. So in the end, the SILCA pumps are the jewels of the test. Their build quality and feel are beyond question. I just love to hear that. I love when somebody gets what we were going for. The bottom line, SILCA is superior in speed, premium build, ergonomics, class-leading weight for the micro, and spot-on pressure accuracy. In practical roadside use, those traits translate to the quickest return to rideable pressure with reliable and precise results of all pumps tested. Holy smokes. Thank you, guys. It's pretty awesome to read, quite frankly. And then Escape Collective, Dave Rome, with his threaded number 48 feature, did the same thing. And kind of the same complaint on the micro. Was wishing there was a gauge, but felt the weight was impressive. But he said where the micro didn't impress me as much, the larger Ultimate more than justifies its price. One of the only times ever I think I've heard somebody say justifies the price. So thank you. We are not the cheapest. Our goal is to be the best. And so when people can set price aside for a moment and acknowledge that, I'm really thankful. I mean, we work really hard at this stuff. I mean, I really sweat these details. It's my money invested to make these things and I make what I want, hoping that it's what you want too. And so I'm really touched by that, and I thank you, Dave, for that comment. We landed in the top spot, and he said the inflation speed and number of tires it inflates on a single charge are why it has landed in the top spot. Of all of the ones tested, we were the second fastest with the second, and I think the fastest was one like a quite a bit bigger one because he tested some of the larger like automotive type ones. Second fastest, second most inflations. Quite interestingly, from the gap to the slowest, the Rock Brothers pump actually took 1 minute longer to inflate, and that's crazy. So we went from like 24 seconds to 1 minute and 24 seconds. Huge thanks, he calls out, comes with double the warranty period of the others. And it's the only one that will have service kits available. So, yeah, there you go. Subtly different than the SiCplus model. No, in Dave's test, he did. So SiCplus has updated their newest, late 2025 pump to have the larger piston. It's actually similar to the piston that we've designed, but it's not quite as big because theirs still goes to 120 PSI. And so we still win out on speed to inflate and volume pumped per inflation. But they have tweaked that design. So I think the Gran Fondo test, we beat them pretty significantly, and then they've updated their design to kind of match nearly our design. So, if you're one of the people out there who say, I don't want SILCA, I'll never buy SILCA, you're too expensive, well, then you can go buy SiCplus and you can actually benefit from technology that SILCA designed and developed with SiCplus as our supplier, as they are now using it for themselves. it's not a bad thing. So they're a great partner to work with, and they make very high quality products. We leaned on them for a lot of their early design work, and then we took it and did our thing to it and made it better, and now they're working on making theirs better as well. So I love to see that in the market. We all get a better product at the end of the day. So if you don't like SILCA, you hate me, you're the guy who shows up in the comments almost every video to trash talk my hair, which, thank you. Go buy from them, right? Or like I said, Topeak, love those guys, respect them, hard to beat for the price. So there you have it. It's a super positive, felt great. Somebody for the first time said, justifies the price. I love it. Anyway, questions, comments, thoughts, leave them below. Yeah, looking for holiday gifts for people. Come check us out. Oh, funny story on that. My wife, I was using this to inflate, it's getting cold here in Indiana, inflating the tires on her Miata because she's got the pressure light going on, and she came out, she's like, whoa, that thing is cool. Where'd you get it? I'm like, we make it. She's like, you make it? She clearly pays no attention to what I do at work. I can't blame her. Her work is saving people's lives, and yeah, so she ended up buying these for all of her siblings for Christmas because they were pretty awesome, especially when a temperature drops and your stupid TPMS light on your car starts beeping at you. You can fix that in about 2 minutes with one of these. Pretty awesome. Anyway, thanks for watching. Comments, questions below, and we'll see you next time.